The temperature outside is -18 degrees Celsius. The wind is strong enough to knock a person to the ground. And inside this building in Alaska, 272 people wake up, knowing they might not step outside all day. This is not a hotel. It is not a military base. It is an entire town hidden inside a single building. Inside, people have everything they need: a store, a clinic, a school, even a police station. Because outside, nature does not want humans to survive. This place is called Whittier, and it is only the first of 7 places where humans decided to live in environments that were never meant to become home. In this video, we will explore frozen cities, underground worlds, mountain settlements, and towns built above the ocean. But the question is not how humans live there. The real question is, why did they choose these impossible places in the first place? The first place looks like it belongs inside a survival movie. On the coast of Alaska, surrounded by mountains and storms, there is a town where almost everyone lives under the same roof. During winter, the weather outside can become brutal. Heavy snow, freezing temperatures, and powerful winds make normal life almost impossible. So the residents created something unusual: a town inside a building. Inside the building, residents can find almost everything they need. Leaving the building is sometimes unnecessary. Whittier exists because humans found a reason to stay. Originally created as a military location, the town remained even after the soldiers left. The building became more than a shelter. It became home. But Whittier is only the beginning. Because if humans can survive where the cold tries to push them away, what happens when the problem is not the weather above them, but the ground beneath them? In Alaska, humans escaped the cold by moving closer together. But in the Australian desert, the problem was completely different. The surface was not freezing. It was almost impossible to survive. Coober Pedy is one of the strangest towns on Earth. From above, it looks almost abandoned. There are no normal streets filled with houses. Instead, much of the city is hidden underground. The reason people came here was hidden beneath their feet. In the early 20th century, miners discovered something valuable: opal, a gemstone that attracted people from all over the world. But there was a problem. The desert above became dangerously hot, so the miners made a decision. Instead of fighting the desert, they went underneath it. Inside these underground homes, the temperature stays stable even when the desert above becomes unbearable. Coober Pedy became a city where people literally live inside the earth. Coober Pedy showed that humans can escape the surface. But the next place is different. Here, the problem is not the ground beneath your feet. It is the air itself. La Rinconada is one of the highest permanent settlements on Earth. Located thousands of meters above sea level, the city sits higher than many of the world's tallest mountains. At this altitude, there is far less oxygen than at sea level. For visitors, even walking can become exhausting. The human body has to fight just to adapt. So why would anyone choose to live here? The answer is buried deep beneath the mountain: gold. The discovery of gold attracted thousands of people searching for opportunity. The city grew rapidly, even though almost everything about the environment was against human life. But the gold came with a cost. The city developed without proper planning, and life here became one of the hardest examples of human survival. Humans climbed thousands of meters into the sky for what was hidden underground. But the next place on this list had a completely different problem. There was no mountain, no desert, no land at all. In the mountains, humans climbed higher. In the desert, they went underground. But in Lagos, Nigeria, humans built a city on water. From above, Makoko looks impossible. There are no normal streets, no cars, no roads connecting homes. The water became the streets. The community began with fishermen who wanted to stay close to the water. Over generations, the settlement expanded. Homes, schools, and businesses slowly appeared above the lagoon. For children living here, the boat is not a special vehicle. It is their everyday transportation. Their streets are waves, and their neighborhoods move with the tide. But living on water created a new challenge. Everything people normally build underground or on land had to exist above the lagoon. But the same water that gave life to Makoko also created its biggest problems. Waste, pollution, and rising water levels threaten the community that depends on the lagoon. Makoko exists because people needed the water. They did not choose an impossible place. They adapted to the place that gave them a reason to stay. But the next place shows something even stranger. A city built not because there was water, but because there was almost nowhere left to build. Makoko proved that humans can build a city without land, but the next place went even further. A tiny island in Japan became one of the most crowded places on Earth. The island was originally just a piece of rock in the sea, but beneath it was something valuable: coal. In the early 20th century, the island transformed completely. Mining companies built walls around it, expanded the land, and filled it with enormous concrete buildings. At its peak, thousands of people lived here. Schools, hospitals, shops, and apartments were all packed into a space smaller than many city neighborhoods. The island had almost no space left. Buildings stood so close together that sunlight barely reached some areas. The entire island became a machine designed for human life. But the island depended on one thing: the coal beneath it. And when the world changed its energy source, Hashima's purpose disappeared. In 1974, the mine closed, and something incredible happened. A city that once held thousands of people disappeared almost overnight. Today, Hashima is a ghost city, a place that shows something important about human settlements. A city survives only as long as humans have a reason to remain. But what if the reason to stay was not hidden underground, not inside the ocean, but in a place where the cold itself could kill you? Hashima showed a city that disappeared when its purpose was gone. But in Siberia, there is a place where people continue living despite something much more powerful: the cold itself. Oymyakon is considered one of the coldest permanently inhabited places on Earth. During winter, temperatures can fall below -50 degrees Celsius. At these temperatures, everyday life changes completely. Metal becomes dangerous to touch. Vehicles cannot simply be turned off, and nature itself begins to freeze. So why did humans choose this place? The answer goes back centuries. The region provided resources and a reason to stay. Unlike many modern cities, Oymyakon was not built around comfort. It was built around survival. People adapted their entire lives to the frozen world around them. But living in the coldest places on Earth comes with a price. Supplies are difficult to transport. Infrastructure is constantly fighting against nature. Oymyakon proves something fascinating. Humans do not always choose places because they are easy. Sometimes they choose them because leaving is not the only option. But the final place on this list takes human adaptation to another level. Because there, humans did not fight the cold. They did not escape the desert. They built an entire city where there was nothing. All the places before this had one thing in common. They had mountains. They had desert. They had ice. But this place had almost nothing. Only open sea. In 1949, engineers discovered something valuable beneath the waves: oil. But there was a problem. The resource was far from the shore. Instead of bringing workers back and forth from land, they built something almost unbelievable: a city. Over time, the settlement expanded. Roads appeared above the water, buildings were constructed, even parks existed in a place where no natural land existed. At its peak, thousands of people lived here. They worked, slept, raised families, and created a normal life, in the middle of the Caspian Sea. But just like Hashima Island, this city depended on one thing: the reason humans came there. As resources became harder to access, the city slowly changed. The sea began taking back what humans built on top of it. 7 places, 7 impossible environments, but every one of them reveals the same truth. Humans do not live in impossible places without a reason. They stayed because something was worth staying for: a resource, a dream, a chance to survive. And maybe the most surprising thing about these places is not that humans manage to live there. It is that humans always find a way. If you enjoyed this journey into the impossible, subscribe. More stories about the places humans were never supposed to reach are coming.